With the progression in scientific knowledge about genetic influence, the issue of modifying genes of fetuses to create designer babies has been gaining more attention. While this technology does not currently exist, it could be a reality soon with advances in research. There are two reasons this technology could be used: one for medical reasons, such as editing genes that cause disease, or for non-medical reasons, such as editing genes that control eye color or enhance muscles for athletic abilities. The real moral issue lies with non-medical reasons because they're non-essential, while medical reasons help to push for a healthier baby. Virtue ethics can aid in this argument. Virtue ethics states that an action is right if a virtuous agent would do it. A virtuous agent is someone who has virtues and only does an action out of character, not because they are going to gain something from it. A virtuous agent would not create a designer baby because it lacks justice, is selfish, and ungrateful towards the gift of life, and therefore should not be performed. Justice is one virtue that a virtuous agent has and refers to equality. In terms of designer babies, not everyone would have equal opportunity to this procedure because it is going to be very expensive. This would increase the inequality between different economic groups and could even lead to a divide between the enhanced or genetically modified individuals and the unenhanced. The supporters of designer babies say that this technology could be used to lessen this inequality by only letting the less fortunate use it. While this is good in theory, it is still unjust because not everyone would have equal opportunity to it. Because of this injustice, a virtuous agent would not do it, and it is therefore immoral. Beneficence is another virtue and refers to doing good for others over oneself. When connecting beneficence and designer babies, the reasoning for the parents wanting this genetic modification needs to be looked at. While the parents do want good for their child, the main reason is to gain a perfect child. Whenever there is gain in an action, that action is not virtuous. It is also very selfish for a parent to want to control a child's future and not let them decide for themselves. Even though there is some beneficence with the parents wanting good for their child, all selfishness outweighs it. The counter to this argument is that genes do not force children to be anything they don't want to be. While this is true, it puts a lot more pressure on the child than normal parent expectations because it is genetically wired into them. A common parenting style recently is high-pressure parenting, where the parents control every aspect of the child's life. This is selfish because it does not let the child decide what they want. So designer baby is basically genetic high-pressure parenting, and therefore selfish and immoral. Gratitude is another virtue of a virtuous person and refers to appreciation. There are many families that struggle with fertility and would be very grateful and appreciative to have a healthy baby. Therefore, parents who try to edit their already healthy babies are being ungrateful for the gift of life. If we cannot appreciate the gift of life, we cannot recognize the connection between nature and life. There are some aspects of life that we cannot control, such as natural talents. When we try to give these natural talents to children who would not naturally have them, that is being unappreciative for life. When we stop appreciating life, we start to see children as objects of our design. The supporters of designer babies say that it is unrealistic to say that parents are ungrateful for their children just because they want to influence them to be better people. The issues with this argument is that the only way to be a better person is through virtues and morals. These cannot be modified. Genetic modification does have its limits. It can only be used for physical aspects, and these are things about a child that a parent should not want to change. If they do, they are being ungrateful for their child and therefore the gift of life. Because this is ungrateful towards the gift of life, it is not virtuous. In conclusion, there is a need for boundaries with this procedure. It is unjust, selfish, and ungrateful. The appreciation for life is something sacred and something that we need to hold on to. When we stop appreciating life, this will hurt humanity. This procedure is immoral and should only be used for medical considerations.